How many fingers I got up?
2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1. Wait.
In early January 2024, 34-year-old Tameisha Price was glowing with excitement. She was weeks away from meeting her baby girl, lled Price. Her heart was full, her dreams were big, and her future looked bright. On January 1st, she shared her joy online, writing, "Walking into 2024 with so much peace, looking forward to what God has for me and my family. My daughter will be born next month, and I can't wait to meet my baby girl." But just 3 weeks later, on January 24th, that joy was stolen. Tamisha was found lying lifeless on the ground, her unborn baby never given a chance to take her first breath. Police arrived at a home on Norton Place in Toledo, Ohio, to a scene of horror, multiple gunshot wounds, shattered dreams, and a crime that made no sense. Who would do this to a woman who was about to become a mother? What could possibly drive someone to commit such a heartless act? At first, it seemed like a crime fueled by rage, but as detectives peeled back the layers, they found something far more disturbing, a web of secrets, deception, and betrayal that ran deeper than anyone could have imagined. What started as a lover's dispute spiraled into a shocking murder-for-hire plot, and the truth, it would change everything. Before we dive deeper into Tamisha's story, remember, stories like these need to be heard. They remind us why awareness, prevention, and taking action are crucial. If this story moves you or you believe it can make a difference, take a moment to like this video. Your support helps share this message with more people who need to hear it. And if you've ever witnessed or experienced the warning signs of domestic violence, share your thoughts in the comments below. Your insight could help someone recognize the danger in their own life, or even save a life. Most importantly, share this video with your friends, your family, and anyone who needs to understand the importance of speaking up, listening, and offering support when it matters most. Click the subscribe button and turn on the notification so you don't get to miss future stories. Together, we can build a community that supports survivors, raises awareness, and works to prevent tragedies like Tamisha's from happening again. On a cold winter morning in Toledo, Ohio, a devastating tragedy unfolded behind the closed doors of an otherwise quiet home. Tameisha Price, a woman 8 months pregnant with a baby girl, was murdered. The pain of losing her was amplified by the fact that her 2 young sons were the last to see their mother alive. But the story doesn't end with just her death. It's the story of a life violently snuffed out, and an unborn child, lled Price, who never had the chance to take a breath. What makes Tamisha's death even more heartbreaking is the toxic relationship she was in. A relationship that was, by all accounts, fraught with tension, lies, and abuse. Domestic violence, which affects millions, often goes unseen, hidden behind closed doors, out of sight of neighbors, friends, and family. But in Tamisha's case, it exploded into something much more. The question lingers. Was her murder a tragic crime of passion or something darker, far more calculated? In the days following Tamisha's death, the investigation revealed a toxic, volatile relationship with her boyfriend, Paris James. Evidence surfaced that painted a chilling portrait of a man who may have planned this gruesome act with cold precision. Was this a spur-of-the-moment act of rage, or was it a carefully thought-out plan? Was this the tragic end of a relationship gone wrong, or something far more badly? Domestic violence is a hidden epidemic, one that thrives in silence and shame. Tamisha's death, though, shines a light on what so many women experience behind closed doors, and her story forces us to ask the tough questions we often avoid. How do we protect those we love from this? How do we prevent it before it's too late? Was Tamisha just another casualty of a toxic relationship, or did her story have a much darker, deliberate ending? Throughout this investigation, disturbing revelations about Tamisha's relationship have come to light, showing that her life, her love for her sons, and her anticipation of her unborn daughter may have been a ticking time bomb. And now we face a chilling question. Who is responsible for this senseless loss of life? Was this a crime of passion, or was it a cold and calculated murder? As we dig deeper into the investigation, you'll hear shocking details, twisted motives, and new revelations that might just leave you questioning everything. So stay with us, because the truth behind Tamisha's death is far from simple. Tameisha Price, affectionately known as Misha, was born on May 22, 1989 in Toledo, Ohio, to her loving parents Tyler and Stacy Price. From a young age, Tamisha exhibited a vibrant spirit and a deep-seated compassion for others. Her formative years were marked by her active participation in the youth choir, where she not only showcased her vocal talents but also developed a profound love for singing, dancing, and acting. These early experiences laid the foundation for her unwavering faith and commitment to her community. Tamisha's dedication to her faith was evident as she attended Pinewood Tabernacle Church during her childhood. Later, she became a cherished member of Upton United Methodist Church under the leadership of Bishop Pat McKinstry. Her involvement in various ministries, including the youth choir, praise dancing, and cheerleading, underscored her devotion and the joy she found in serving others. Beyond her spiritual commitments, Tamisha was a devoted mother to her two sons, Jaden Kushan and Leslie Michael. Her love for her children was evident in her daily life, as she balanced her professional responsibilities with the joys and challenges of motherhood. She took immense pride in spending quality time with her sons, ensuring they felt loved and supported. Professionally, Tamisha was deeply committed to the well-being of children and families. She pursued a career in the medical field, earning a degree from Herzing University. Her passion for caring for those in need led her to roles at Sunbridge Charter and AE Charter Schools, where she worked in administrative capacities. Additionally, she served as a lead case manager for a school-based program for youth with new concepts, supporting their mission to embrace, equip, and empower individuals within the community. In her personal life, Tamisha was known for her love of modeling, fashion, and travel. She had an eye for style, always dressing to impress from head to toe. Her adventurous spirit led her to explore new places and experiences, capturing these moments through photographs and videos to share with her loved ones. Her zest for life and her ability to find joy in the simple pleasures left a lasting impression on all who knew her. Tamisha's legacy is one of love, faith, and unwavering dedication to her family and community. Her untimely passing has left a profound void in the lives of her sons, parents, and all who had the privilege of knowing her. As we reflect on her life, we are reminded of the fragility of life and the importance of cherishing every moment with our loved ones. In the words of her family, Tamisha was a loving, caring, and giving daughter, sister, mother, and friend. Her memory continues to inspire those who knew her, and her spirit lives on in the hearts of her children and all who were touched by her kindness and generosity. Tameisha Price's life took a significant turn when she met Paris James a few years after she and the father of her sons were no longer together. At first, their relationship seemed like any other, filled with the excitement of new love. Paris, with his charm and good looks, swept her off her feet. Tamisha, always the optimist, was drawn to his warmth and the way he seemed to care for her. He made her feel special, and for a while she believed he could be the one. They spent months getting to know each other, enjoying life's simple pleasures, laughing together and building memories. Tamisha, with her big heart, was open to the possibility of something lasting, something real. For a time, Paris seemed to be the partner she had dreamed of, a man who shared her hopes and dreams. But love, as she would soon learn, is not always as it seems. As time passed, small cracks began to form in their relationship, subtle at first but noticeable to anyone paying attention. Paris's true nature began to show through. Beneath the surface, his past, a history filled with run-ins with the law and unresolved anger issues, started to rear its ugly head. Tamisha, ever the optimist, ignored the warning signs, telling herself that they could work through it, that they were strong enough to overcome anything. But the truth was, Paris was not the man he appeared to be. It all changed when Tamisha found out she was pregnant. At first, she was overjoyed, her excitement palpable. This was a new chapter. She was about to become a mother again, and she couldn't wait to share that joy with Paris. But Paris's reaction was far from what she had expected. Rather than celebration, there was tension, anger. He didn't want the baby. Paris began to pressure her, again and again, to terminate the pregnancy. He couldn't handle the responsibility, he said. He wasn't ready for a child. But Tamisha, whose love for her family and faith in her heart were unwavering, refused. She wanted to keep the baby, and that decision would mark the beginning of a toxic spiral in their relationship. Paris's demands turned into threats. He didn't just ask her to consider an abortion. He told her that if she kept the baby, there would be consequences. He would leave. He would hurt her. The controlling behavior escalated quickly. Tamisha, conflicted and heartbroken, tried to make the relationship work, tried to appease Paris, but the tension kept mounting. He accused her of infidelity, of not being honest with him, even though there was no reason for these accusations. Paris's jealousy and paranoia became suffocating, and slowly, Tamisha's world began to shrink. She found herself walking on eggshells, trying not to upset him, trying to avoid the next outburst, the next fight. The fights became more frequent. The distance between them grew. Where there had once been love, now there was only anger and distrust. Paris would disappear for days, only to return with apologies that felt empty and hollow. But the cycle continued: anger, apologies, threats, and control. This was not the love story Tamisha had hoped for. What started as a passionate relationship full of promise had now turned into something darker, something dangerous. She had tried to leave him before, but each time, Paris pulled her back in with more promises, more apologies. And yet, the abuse continued to escalate. In the months leading up to her death, Tamisha was a shadow of the woman she once was. Her joy had been replaced by fear, her hope by uncertainty. Paris James's grip on her life had grown tighter, his behavior more unpredictable. Tamisha's friends and family began to notice the changes. The way she withdrew from them, the way she seemed lost, almost trapped. But what could she do? Paris had made it clear, if she didn't comply, the consequences would be dire. And so she stayed trapped in a cycle of abuse, of fear. But little did she know, things were about to take a tragic turn. Was this the final breaking point? Was Tamisha's refusal to end the pregnancy the spark that set everything in motion? Or had the darkness of Paris's obsession and control already sealed her fate? The answers, as we'll soon discover, are even more devastating than anyone could have imagined. It was a morning like any other, dark, cold, and quiet. The city of Toledo was still asleep, the streets empty, save for the occasional passing car. But inside one house, on the 5300 block of Norton Place, something unsettling was unfolding. Something that would change everything. Inside, Tameisha Price was awake. She was preparing for the arrival of her baby girl, Tameisha Price. The nursery was nearly finished, tiny pink onesies folded neatly, awaiting the new life that would never come. But on this night, Tamisha had no idea that she was living her final moments. Down the road, a vehicle rolled to a stop. Paris James and his accomplice, Jerry Scott, sat inside watching, waiting. Armed and ready. This wasn't a visit. This was a mission. Paris had made up his mind. Tamisha's refusal to do what he wanted, her defiance in keeping the baby he never wanted, he saw it as betrayal. And in Paris's mind, betrayals had consequences. The pounding on the door came suddenly, shattering the silence of the early morning. It wasn't a friendly knock, it was forceful, aggressive. Something wasn't right. For weeks, Tamisha had been avoiding Paris, his outbursts, his accusations, his threats. But now he was here, standing outside her home in the dead of night. And he wasn't alone. What started as words quickly spiraled into screaming. Paris was furious, his voice echoing through the house. He accused her, again, of betraying him, of ruining his life. He demanded she take back her decision, that she'd fix everything. But this time, Tamisha wasn't backing down. She yells back, standing her ground. Her fear is evident, but so is her resolve. This is her baby. This is her choice. But Paris isn't listening. Jaden and Leslie, awakened by the shouting, peek through a cracked door. Their mother is arguing, her voice desperate but firm. Then, suddenly, the argument stops. A single moment of chilling silence. And then, everything stopped. A silence so thick it felt unnatural. And in that silence, a gun was drawn. Paris reaches into his waistband, pulling out a firearm. The metallic gleam catches the dim light of the hallway. Tamisha's eyes widen, her breath catches in her throat. She takes a step back, hands instinctively covering her belly. Her sons, watching in horror, saw their mother's face change. Fear. Real fear. But before she could react, a sudden, deafening bang. The first shot rings out. Tamisha stumbles backward, clutching her chest. A second bang follows. Blood splatters against the wall. The boys saw everything. Their mother, collapsing to the floor, gasping for air. The life draining from her eyes. But Paris wasn't done. He raised the gun again, and fired one last time. When the police arrived, Paris and Jerry were gone, vanished into the night. But what they left behind was pure devastation. Tameisha Price was dead. Her unborn child, Malaysia, never got to take her first breath. She never stood a chance. 3 gunshot wounds. 1 to the chest. 1 to the stomach. 1 final shot to ensure she wouldn't survive. And her 2 sons? Left to bear witness to the unthinkable. Jaden, tears streaming down his face, clutches his younger brother. Their whole world has just crumbled in front of them. In an instant, their mother was gone. Their baby sister, gone. And the man responsible? The man who had once claimed to love their mother? He had disappeared. But this story was far from over. As the police launched a desperate hunt for Paris James, the pieces of the puzzle would begin to fall into place. And the truth about what really happened that night was even more horrifying than anyone could have imagined. In the aftermath of Tameisha Price's tragic death, the Toledo Police Department launched an exhaustive investigation to bring her killer to justice. Detectives began by meticulously gathering evidence from the crime scene, hoping to piece together the events that led to this horrific act. Witnesses from the neighborhood were interviewed, providing crucial accounts of the night's events. Some reported hearing a heated argument followed by gunshots, while others recalled seeing a dark vehicle speeding away from the scene. These testimonies offered initial leads but were not enough to identify a suspect conclusively. Investigators then turned to technology, reviewing security footage from nearby homes and businesses. One particular camera captured a grainy image of a black SUV near Tamisha's residence around the time of the murder. While the footage was not clear enough to reveal license plate numbers or definitive identities, it corroborated witness statements about a vehicle fleeing the scene. Delving deeper, detectives analyzed cell phone records, focusing on individuals within Tamisha's circle. This digital trail led them to Paris James, Tamisha's boyfriend, who had a tumultuous relationship with her. Records and the testimony of Tamisha's sons indicated that Paris had been in the vicinity of Norton Place during the critical time frame, contradicting his initial claims. As the evidence mounted, Paris became the prime suspect. However, when authorities attempted to bring him in for questioning, they discovered he had fled, initiating a city-wide manhunt. Days turned into weeks, with law enforcement tirelessly pursuing leads, but Paris remained elusive. In a surprising turn of events, Paris's living girlfriend, Chatouilla Triplet, provided an alibi, asserting that he was with her the entire night of the murder. Initially, this statement cast doubt on the investigation's direction. However, further scrutiny revealed inconsistencies in her account. Confronted with contradictory evidence, Chatouilla eventually admitted to fabricating the alibi in an attempt to protect Paris. This revelation led to her arrest on charges of obstructing justice. The investigation took another critical turn when detectives uncovered communications between Paris and an associate named Jerry Scott. Text messages revealed discussions that implicated both men in the planning and execution of the crime. Confronted with the overwhelming evidence, Jerry Scott was arrested and charged with 2 counts of aggravated murder premeditated. Realizing the net was closing in, Paris James ultimately surrendered to authorities. He too was charged with multiple counts, including aggravated murder. The arrests of Paris James, Jerry Scott, and Chatouilla Triplet marked significant milestones in the pursuit of justice for Tamisha and her unborn child. Legal experts have noted the complexity of this case, highlighting the challenges in unraveling the web of deceit and bringing all involved parties to justice. The combination of witness testimonies, digital evidence, and the perseverance of law enforcement played pivotal roles in solving this tragic case. As the legal proceedings continue, the community remains hopeful that justice will be served, honoring the memory of Tameisha Price and her unborn daughter, Malaysia. Following the tragic death of Tameisha Price and her unborn child, the legal system moved to hold those responsible accountable. Paris James and Jerry Scott were arrested and faced multiple charges, including aggravated murder, felonious assault, and tampering with evidence. Each charge carried significant weight, reflecting the severity of their alleged actions. As the trial progressed, the prosecution presented a compelling case, supported by witness testimonies, cell phone records, and forensic evidence. A pivotal moment occurred when DNA analysis revealed the presence of another individual's DNA on the firearm used in the crime. This unexpected development prompted the defense to argue that the presence of another person's DNA introduced reasonable doubt regarding their client's involvement. They contended that the evidence was insufficient to conclusively link James and Scott to the murder, suggesting that the true perpetrator might still be at large. In response, the prosecution countered by emphasizing the totality of the evidence. They argued that, despite the additional DNA, the combination of witness statements, digital communications, and the defendant's actions before and after the crime painted a clear picture of their guilt. The prosecution maintained that the presence of another individual's DNA did not exonerate the defendants but rather highlighted the complexity of the case. The trial's emotional intensity was palpable, with Tamisha's family and friends filling the courtroom, seeking justice for their loved one. Legal experts noted the case's intricacy, pointing to the challenges posed by the unexpected DNA evidence and the defense's strategy to leverage it. The proceedings underscored the delicate balance between ensuring a fair trial and delivering justice for a heinous crime. As the trial concluded, the jury was tasked with deliberating the evidence presented, weighing the arguments from both sides. The community awaited the verdict with bated breath, hopeful that justice would be served for Tameisha Price and her unborn daughter, Malaysia. The tragic loss of Tameisha Price and her unborn daughter, Malaysia Lini Price, on January 24, 2024, sent shockwaves through the Toledo community. The immediate aftermath was a profound period of grief, reflection, and a collective call to action. Tamisha's two sons, Jaden Kushan, 16, and Leslie Michael, 13, were left to navigate the unimaginable pain of losing their mother and baby sister. Surrounded by family, including their grandparents Tyler and Stacy Price, the boys faced a future forever altered. The community rallied to support them, understanding that their journey through grief would be long and arduous. In the days following the tragedy, vigils were held across Toledo. Hundreds gathered, holding candles and sharing memories, to honor Tamisha's life and to stand in solidarity against the violence that claimed her. These gatherings served as both a tribute and a stark reminder of the pervasive issue of domestic violence. To provide tangible support for Tamisha's children, a GoFundMe campaign was established. Organized by family friend Matthew Pally, the fundraiser aimed to assist with immediate and future expenses as Jaden and Leslie adjusted to life without their mother. The outpouring of generosity from both locals and strangers alike was a testament to the impact Tamisha had on those around her. Tamisha's death also ignited conversations about domestic violence within the community. Advocacy groups highlighted her story to raise awareness, emphasizing the importance of recognizing warning signs and providing resources for those in similar situations. Educational workshops and support groups saw increased participation, indicating a community's commitment to change. The emotional toll on Tamisha's loved ones was immeasurable. Friends and family members spoke of her radiant spirit, her unwavering faith, and her dedication to her sons. Her absence left a void that could never be filled, but her legacy inspired many to cherish their loved ones more deeply and to advocate for a safer community. In the wake of such profound loss, the Toledo community demonstrated resilience and unity. Through shared grief, they found strength, turning tragedy into a catalyst for awareness, support, and enduring change. Tameisha Price's story is more than a tragedy. It is a stark reminder of the dangers of domestic violence, the urgency of recognizing warning signs, and the heartbreaking consequences of unchecked control and abuse. A young mother was taken too soon, her unborn daughter never given the chance to live. And now the fight for justice continues. We want to hear from you. Do you believe justice will be served? How do you think the new DNA evidence will impact the trial? Do you think there are still unanswered questions in this case? Let us know in the comments below. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, help is available. You are not alone. There are people who care, people who will listen, and people who will help. Check the description for helpline. One voice can spark a conversation. One conversation can ignite change. By sharing this story, you are helping bring awareness to an issue that affects millions. You are giving a voice to the victims who can no longer speak for themselves. Like this video if you believe justice must be served. Leave a comment to share your thoughts on the case. Share this video to spread awareness. Subscribe for more true crime stories and in-depth investigations. Tameisha Price was more than a victim. She was a mother, a daughter, a friend, a woman with dreams. Let's make sure her story is never forgotten.